Hello and welcome into another video, and today's episode is going to be about Majora's Mask and how it also kind of helped save my life. Basically, the whole point of the series of videos I'm doing at the moment are for Mental Health Week, but I'm just using Mental Health Week as an excuse to actually put up some of the more harder stories that I wanted to actually tell on this channel under the guise of relaunching it and adding mental health stuff to it, because being able to talk about these things is actually important, and personally just me being able to vent like this actually helps greatly, but hopefully it'll also help others relate and have a space for you to be able to actually say your own stuff. But I had been recording a bunch of these for so long, and I was like, I don't know when best to put some of these up because some of them are heavy, and I thought for Mental Health Week I'll just do one harsh video a day and one kind of happier, jauntier video a day. I think that's the word. This is going to be one of those days, I already know. Mainly as well because when I actually got the idea to do this video, I tried to do them pretty much the moment the motivations there, the adrenaline, the hype, the oh my god, I've just had this idea, this is something I want to record. I tried to do it while that's all there, and this hit at like 4 in the morning, and there's no way I could record at 4 in the morning without waking everyone up. But I've been playing Majora's Mask recently on the 3DS. I love my 3DS, loved everything about the 3DS, and eventually one day just stopped playing the 3DS because obviously things move on. And I have a severe visual impairment with both of my eyes called keratoconus, and every now and then I have a day where my eye is literally feeling like it's bulging out of my skull. I get very sensitive to light, I struggle to do anything, and it used to happen very regularly as my teen years, and then growing up into young adult, and then actually pretty much started to, it didn't peter out. I've got this for my entire life, but I went from having really, really bad days very, very commonly to these would be once every few months, and this was the worst one I'd had in decades. Absolute decades. And I couldn't read. All I wanted to do was sit and read. I was in the middle of the third Expanse book. I was hoping to get it finished before reading the 8th Dungeon Crawler Call book, which just came out at the time of making this. All I wanted to do was read. Couldn't. So I was then trying to do anything at all, and I'm like, well, I know fine well I can't sit and play games on one of my monitors because it's going to be too bright and the light is ruining me right now. It was a Saturday or Sunday. The entire day is a blur because of the pain. There was nothing on to watch, so there was no like podcast I could listen to or anything because no one uploads anything on a Saturday or Sunday, which is really fucking annoying. It was just one of those things that I had nothing to do. And I suddenly sat there going, I've been replaying some Zelda games recently for the 40th anniversary. I'm going to get my 3DS out because the last time I had a day like this, it was so bad. I can't use the 3D functionality on the 3DS again because of the eyesight issue, but I could actually manage to play my 3DS screen because it's just big enough for me to be able to see it with my eyesight, and it's not really that bright, and it's something that I can sit far enough away from if needs be. So as I never played Majora's Mask 3D, because when it came out, I didn't have the time in my life. It literally came out at a time when I had so many other things, and eventually, as I say, I just stopped using the system. So I thought, I'm going to finally start Majora's Mask again, because I was obsessed with this game as a kid. One of the first videos I put up on the rebrand of this channel, and on my actual review of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which I think I also did the 3DS review as well, and I think it was specifically the 3DS review where I delve into it. Basically, I mention how Ocarina is kind of one of the main reasons I'm still alive to this day. I had my near-death when I was a kid. It was horrific, and that's its whole video. It's like 40 minutes long, so I'm not going to tangent here. But as much as Ocarina saved me, Majora truly was such an important part as well of kind of like rebuilding me. And I'm going to start with a tiny bit of trauma dumping of the fact of Majora was both a great Christmas and also kind of, I was informed once again I'd ruined Christmas. The kind of family I have, my mother especially, would always inform me that something that I'd done as a kid would have ruined a Christmas, and it's your usual bullshit, parenting, narcissistic, awful, evil, can't stand my family stories. It could be as simple as I accidentally found a gift that this was in this case it was she told me to actually go into her purse to get something and she hadn't removed Majora's Mask, and I'm like, so I take it I'm getting Zelda, and it's like, oh well, that's ruined Christmas that you've done that. It's just, you literally told me to go into the bag and get it. So again, it was never her fault or anything, it was always mine. And actually I'd saved Christmas because I immediately said, I can't play this. Just, what do you mean you can't play it? It's Zelda, you love Zelda. Yes, but do you see this little mark on the box that says you need an expansion pack to be able to play it? Don't have an expansion pack. So I literally had to spend my own pocket money. We managed to go to a second-hand store, and they had one of them used, one of them new, and the used one, I could get it for less than half the price, and I was able to buy a game as well. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that then, because why the fuck wouldn't I? So bought it, and Christmas morning, my best friend comes over. He doesn't really play Zelda. He was never really that into it, but he played Ocarina, he loved Ocarina, and he wanted to sit here, and the two of us sat for 3 days, pretty much, on and off. Funnily enough, 3 days, because of the 3-day cycle. Just constantly going over this entire game, trying to figure it out together, because Majora's Mask, it's got the weakest main quest out of any Zelda game. It just does, I'm sorry, but, I mean, with the exception of maybe Wind Waker, which I have actual major grievances for, the quest of this, the main quest, is so basic and bare bones, and if you only play the main quest, I can understand why there'd be a lot of people out there who don't like this game. This is one of the greatest games ever made. There's no ifs, ands, or buts for me because of the side stories, and it's the side stories that this entire video is about to be about. I need to go through a lot of preamble to set this up, I am aware. One of my videos being very rambly at the start, go figure, you know. It's not as if that's part of who I am. But he came over and we sat and we just kept figuring out all of these puzzles, because this entire game, if you commit to doing all the side quests, you'll get the greatest puzzles that Nintendo have ever made for Zelda, and you'll get the greatest side quests that Nintendo have ever made for Zelda. It's no game is perfect, and this is how I quantify Ocarina, Majora, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. No game is perfect. That is true. Absolutely no game is perfect. I consider all 4 of these games to be masterpieces. They're not perfect, but Ocarina and Majora together are perfect. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom together are perfect. Ocarina had the main quest, and the side quests were decent. It was all about having this big expansive world and all of that, like the 3D of it all that hit you as a kid. All of that's there, but when you start to replay it over and over again, I noticed that I would start leaving the side quest stuff. And when I started to replay Majora as a kid, because I only really replayed it while I was obsessed with it, because it came out so late in the N64's lifespan, I moved on to other consoles, and I got rid of my N64, and I never played it on the GameCube when they released the Majora's Mask special disc. I never played it on the Wii Virtual Console. I, bought it, I put it on, and it's like, yep, this is still Majora's Mask, but I just never got around to replaying it. So, it has been probably 20 years, if not more, since I last actually fully played this game. And it's why I thought, I'm going to finally sit and play on my 3DS here, because I know I can do that with my eyesight. I'm going to sit and I'm going to enjoy it, and falling back in love with it and being able to do all of this myself this time is exceptional, because I've managed to forget almost everything about it because of so long and because of all the brain damage and trauma and everything. I have a lot of the important moments memorized, but there's so many quests where I'm just like, I completely forgot all about this, and I forgot this, and I expected the Romani Ranch quest line. I was trying to do that on the 3DS, and I got to Day 3 and nothing at all happened, and I'm like, I remember something happening on Day 3. I know something happens on Day 3. I thought I'd done all of the stuff I needed to do on Day 1 and Day 2, but I guess I didn't, and it's been amazing. I still haven't actually fully finished it at the time of making this video. Obviously, I've beat the game once, but again, 20 odd years ago, but I haven't fully finished it on the 3DS. Absolutely loving everything to do with it. I can't see it enough. I think it's an absolutely exceptional port, and when we eventually get Ocarina remade, I really hope we get this remade as well, because I think there's a lot they could do to it to make it even better. But if you put this game on and you just play through the main quest, as I see it, because I know I kind of went off on a tangent, you will get a mediocre experience when you replay it. If you replay it and you do all the side quests, I understand part of the joy is solving the puzzles, and eventually that'll wear off if you're just like speedrunning these things, but it's the fact that it's all the stories and all the ways that you help, and Majora genuinely helped rebuild me after a very, very, very bleak, dark time in my life, and it's definitely the sort of game that made me who I am today. If you've never seen BoJack Horseman before, I strongly recommend you do. It's a very heavy watch. Speaking of mental health and everything, it's a very, very heavy watch. It really is. It's the sort of thing that don't watch that show if you're suicidal, like seriously. But at the same time, if you have had severe bouts of depression and things, it goes through so much. And one of the characters, Princess Carolyn, is the whole point of what I'm about to bring up with Majora's Mask. And seeing as I also mentioned Dungeon Crawler Call, I need to now warn you, if you are reading this, something I'm about to say, it is the most minor of minor spoilers to the book, but it's something that does actually have impact in the book, and I haven't even finished it myself. I'm about 20% of the way through, 20% left of it, and once I finish this game, I'm actually going to read the book. But if you don't want any spoilers at all for Dungeon Crawler Call 8, which is the Parade of Horribles, now's your time to turn off, because everything I'm about to say is going to kind of tie around this line, so it's an important part of the video as well. I think I've given you enough time, even if you were on 2x speed. I'd like to think I've given you enough time. There is a quote from Mr. Roger, or Mr. Rogers, it might have been. We didn't get the show here, so it's not something... I'd heard of the show, I'd heard of the person, but there's a quote from that Carl remembers in the book, and it's in, like, moments of crisis and that, always look to the people who were helping. This game made me into a Princess Carolyn. Princess Carolyn cannot fix her own life. Everything's going completely wrong, and she cannot fix her own life. And what she ends up doing is trying to fix everyone else's. And it's not in the pushy way of, I know better than you, like, and she's trying to assert it. She is known as the character who helps everyone, because that's all she can do, and she's exceptional at it. The Majora's Mask made me into a Princess Carolyn. I know fine well it did, because the entire point of the side quest of this game, like, and the actual main quest, like, you're seeing it here, you're seeing the main quest here. Link gets ambushed by Skull Kid wearing Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is able to destroy the entire planet, universe, Tamino, whatever this realm is essentially called here, because obviously there's so many things to do with the stages of grieving, which I do hope that I'll remember to come back to, because I need to, but if I go off on that tangent, I'll forget everything else. So you're going through this entire quest, and your actual main thing is you have to get the mask back for the Happy Mask Salesman, and you have to save the land of Termina, and also turn yourself back into a Hylian, because obviously you've been turned into a Deku Scrub at the start here. And if you just do that, then you're still the hero. But the way this story works, if you actually want to get the most out of it, you go around and you become the Bomber Kid, essentially. You go out of your way to talk to absolutely everyone. You find out what's going wrong, what's happening, and because you're in a constant 3-day time cycle, you Groundhog Day the fuck out of everything. You learn everything about them, you learn their times, you learn their schedules. This is again another part where I understand some people may not like this in the game because there is so much repetition to it, and that's not for everyone, but it truly is the greatest puzzle in all of Zelda, because you have 3 days to figure out everything. And there isn't some magical run like in Groundhog Day where you can do absolutely everything in 1 day. It's not set up like that. You tick things off, and the way the game works is, I think it, and the whole thing of, without trying to do too much spoilers, and again, this is only my memory of beating the game very, very long time ago, but I think canonically it's supposed to be that while you, the player, don't have time to do everything in the 3-day cycle, as long as you accomplish all of that stuff, no matter how many days it takes you, when you defeat Majora, you, like, if you've done them, you get this ending sequence where you see all of these storylines ending. You see the fruits of all of your labor. You see absolutely everything that you were able to accomplish. You were doing this one simple quest, and I know saving the world isn't a simple quest, but in this it really is one simple quest. You were figuring out how to get a mask back for someone. That was your actual quest. That was your actual goal. And going through, you find ghosts that you managed to put to rest. You find people who are going through serious events in their life that they are really struggling with. I'm trying not to actually spoil too much of, like, the Anju and Kaifi storyline, and I hope that's how you say that name. It's one of those things that I've always called him Kaifi, but it might be Kafei or Kafai or something. Basically, you go through and you learn all of these people's baggage, and you have to help them. In a time of absolute crisis, look for the helpers. in a time of absolute need, look for the helpers. All of this bullshit is going on in Link's life, and you look for the helpers. And first up, by the way, I would just like to say, I fucking knew that that's where the bank was supposed to be. It has been driving me crazy if I was remembering or misremembering, because I'm playing the 3DS version, and I'm like, I don't remember the bank being right beside a save point. Like, save points alone weren't really a thing because of the way this game's time cycle worked, but they had to do it in for the 3DS. But did they really move the bank just to make it more accessible so that whenever I fast travel into Clocktown with the express purpose of getting rid of my rupees before I do my reset, did they really do that? Yes, they did. And even worse is I've only just realised just how much different the back of this part of Clocktown looks. But anyway, very big tangent aside. So yeah, the entire story and everything, people have already mentioned that it's about grief and the 5 stages of grief and acceptance. And after you go through an absolute major trauma like I did as a kid and almost dying, I was definitely going through stages of grief because I wasn't the person I was anymore. And I knew fine well I wasn't the person I was anymore. I was a completely different person, and I had to accept that, and I had to accept my life had completely changed and would never ever be the same again. And just playing Majora, shaped so much about me in so many different ways. It's unbelievable. It seriously helped me so fucking much. I don't know what my, at the time, best friend got out of it, other than he just enjoyed it as a game. And the last time I checked, the last I had heard, the only other Zelda game he actually bothered to play was Breath of the Wild. He seriously is not a Zelda fan. He just likes specific Zelda games. But he really enjoyed it too. And again, the three of us just stayed up for like 3 days almost. Like, we did sleep, but we just hung out for 3 days. We had notebooks, we had things written down, we had what timetable all of the people were going to. We had all of the stuff you had to write down that the 3DS version then actually, you know, built into the game, which again, it does completely change a lot of the game, and I understand, but at the same time, the way my brain works with how much I forget things from severe pain all the time and everything, I was so glad to have all of those little things in, and I definitely made the right choice playing the 3DS version rather than waiting to start it on the Switch 2 here. Even though I'm definitely noticing, because I replayed Ocarina recently on the Switch 2 using the NSO actual N64 controller. The Zelda really does feel so much better on an actual N64 controller. You can tell just how much these games were made for the C buttons and the button layout. And the fact that on the 3DS, I'm constantly having issues playing songs because my muscle memory is like, that's not the Song of Time. The Song of Time shouldn't be that. It should be this. It's like, there's so many different things like that. I still think I made the right choice playing it on the 3DS. And if you actually have no other way to play the game, I would recommend it. But the game is still an absolutely fantastic game. This is one of the best games I'd ever played at the time. It's just that in today's standards, there's definitely some modernization that could be done, but the modernization actually kind of ruins some stuff with it as well. I know as well, I'm just wandering around here, I probably should try to at least do the first quest, like essentially get the fairy, so maybe I should actually start doing that. But I'm kind of not here to show footage at the end of the day. I'm just here to talk about this stuff, and yeah, I think I'm kind of at the end, to be honest. Like, I've went on and touched on the stages of grief. I've touched on all the stuff that I actually wanted to discuss. So I'm currently having one of those ADHD brain fog moments where it's like, but I figured this would be a longer video and there was surely more stuff, and what if the moment I stop, and it might happen. I might be about to do a jump cut and then there's another 15 minutes because, yeah, as soon as I click stop, I'll be, oh, I can't believe I didn't mention that. But no, I think I have mentioned everything about the game that I actually wanted to mention. And again, if you've never played it, I strongly recommend it. I know this is one of those weird Zelda games that some people love, some people hate, and I do fully understand the reasons for hating a game if you find your time so precious, and this is fair, this is a valid thing, I'm not saying this as an attack. If you find that your time is so precious, you genuinely do not have the time to spend constantly replaying a 3-day cycle, constantly learning and doing all of these things over and over and over again, only to come to a stumbling block, and then it turns out by doing another quest halfway across the planet, I'll just say Tameda, halfway across Tameda, on day 3 that you didn't even realise existed, suddenly gives you a mask that allows you to actually do more of the quest that you were trying to do on day 1. I understand there's a lot of differences from playing these games as a kid. We had nothing but time then, so being able to get yourself immersed into it and do all of this was great. But if you do have the ability to do that, and this is why I also recommend the 3DS version, It makes some of it easier, but it makes some of it a lot more manageable, and I still think you're going to get an absolutely magnificent game. It is a better version of the game. It just definitely takes away some of the charm. Like, I'm not saying this as in a case of, oh, just settle for the 3DS version. The 3DS version is a better version of the game. You could equip more items for one thing, which means opening your menu way less. You can just automatically assign different things. I wish that I could change permanently having the pictograph on, the picture box, because at the moment I'm currently not using it, and I'm like, I would love to be able to put the bunny hood on so that I can just run around super fast. There's low, and that's the other thing as well. I would say, don't use a guide. There are definitely some things that can make your life easier and faster. Like, again, the bunny hood, I've just mentioned it. You get it and you're able to run much faster. So all of a sudden you get a lot more time in the day. And there are definitely other ways as well to cut down on doing things. But I think they have more impact if you stumble upon them naturally. But if that is the sort of stumbling block that would stop you playing the game, just look up on a quick guide and or ask someone who actually knows, and instead say, okay then, so what are the things, without doing any major spoilers, what are the things that I should be focusing on to be able to get some of this stuff that might make it a more of a bite-sized experience for me, so that I can actually get absorbed into it, but still not spend 27 hours every single week trying to work all of this out type thing, do something like that. And yeah, I have definitely managed to waffle on, and I am definitely done now, though, and I'm going to see it. Hopefully, this mental health week thing has actually went well, and it's not as if there aren't going to be stories that touch on some darker subjects throughout the rest of the channel, because, yeah, there's always going to be those there. I just won't be uploading them with this frequency, and I also won't be... I've totally... another brain fog. I know I said I was going to upload the frequency. Oh, yeah, and I know eventually I'll run out of stories, is what I was going to say, so eventually I will actually stop uploading those, but until then, I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day, however long your first year has remaining, and until next time, I've been Sky Fellowship. Bye! And as expected, the moment I turned it off, but to be fair, I also don't even know if I want to include this, so if you're seeing it, then you're seeing it, and I decided I do want to include it, but essentially it was to go back to the whole Princess Carolyn thing, because there's a fine line between trying to make these videos informative and helpful, and also trying to just not make them sound like they're just coming off as trauma dumping. But I do know fine well part of my whole Princess Carolyn persona is what also then made me try to recommit to the relatively awful family I was unfortunately cursed with. Growing up in a house of hate and all that, being the go-between, constantly trying to solve people's problems, I figured if I actually tried to do that, maybe I could make my home life better, because that's ultimately the point of why Link is doing this. You're trying to make everything better, not just one thing. You're not trying to be selfish, which actually would be, in this case, fine, because how could you ever call saving the world selfish? But on a technicality, that is the whole point of this. If you only save the world, you're only doing it for yourself. You're only really doing it to get your own life back. You don't really care about all the other people. I threw myself into trying to be the go-between and trying to help out, because at the end of the day, I am actually smart. I do look into things. I do actually know a lot about therapy, and these are people who adamantly avoid it and refuse to accept any of their feelings. And there's just so much abuse and vitriol and hate, just so fucking much, that it's unbelievable. And I know fine well, as much as I am grateful that this turned me into this kind of person, because it truly is the way that I function, I have done my best to help so many people in so many different ways. This is going to be one of those things where I understand this is a very, very deep topic, but I know fine well, out of the 8 people who have came to me about to end their lives, 7 of them are still walking on this planet. Failed once. It really still does. I don't want to say that it doesn't eat at me. It's one of those things that's going to, I have to live with. I ultimately couldn't help them, and it wasn't that anything I'd said had actually caused them to end their life. They were going to just do that anyway, because they were in a very similar abusive house to me, and that's why we got talking and got discussing all of these things and mentioning all of this, and I explained all of the stuff that I was doing to deal with it, and I tried as hard as I could to help them, and it just didn't work. They could not see an out other than taking their own life, so that is what they did. The other 7 people, though, I was at least able to help, and I heard from a couple of them later on, and I know fine well that they'd managed to get through a lot of darker times and get through the other side, and were glad. I can only hope that the other 5 are as well. So I'm definitely not going to say it's a bad thing that this game turned me into a Princess Carolyn, but at the same time, I know fine well I wish I'd spent my efforts on people who deserved it instead of trying with my family, because they definitely don't. Like, I've been proven time and time and time again that they do not deserve my help. They do not deserve anything. They will never truly listen. They'll just... There's too much to dissect in this video as to why, but I have completely gave up, and may they rot and continue to rot and constantly self-implode on themselves and ruin their own lives and end their own lives, essentially, the way things are going. Yeah, not everyone deserves my help, and those who do, I feel 7-1 is still actually pretty decent, and I definitely don't do this often anymore, because things do take a toll on you mentally when you're trying to actually help people who are in that state of need, who are that certain that the only way to do things is to end their life. And honestly, I do not think it's the answer, but I'm also never going to throw shade for anyone who doesn't, because everyone has a different life, and I can see a lot of words and be as supportive as possible, but if I don't actually have any way to physically help you, which in all of these cases I actually didn't have a way to physically help anyone, I could only be there as a person, I could only be there as a friend. Yeah, it gets tough. I can't just magically fix things. If I could, I would do it for myself. Like, I would be selfish. I'm not going to lie. If I could only choose to fully help myself or help other people, I've suffered enough. I'm fine to accept that. I've suffered enough and I've done enough to help people. I quite happily choose finding a way to fix things for myself for once. But if that wasn't an option, then I would choose to fix everything for as many people as I could, because that just is the way I am, and I will always do my best. But yeah, again, not everyone deserves my help, and those who do deserve my help, sometimes I just can't. Sometimes I just have no way to help, and things happen. And in this case, it was actually a subscriber on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I miss them, because pretty fucking awesome person. And it really, really sucks that he was in a very, very, very volatile home life, much like myself. So yeah, very, very, very damper mood to end the video on. I think by the time I've recorded this, I have decided I am just going to add it on. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. If you are struggling, please do try to get some help, because things do change. And I'm not going to say absolutely for everyone, and that's the truth. I'm a realist with it. I don't lie about it. I'm not going to say your life 100% will change and get better and things will go everywhere that you want them. But if things are truly awful for you, change is a constant in life. It just is. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's no denying this. Change is literally every second of every day. Change is happening, whether we want it to or not. So maybe things are truly absolutely awful for you. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next month, maybe in a year, maybe in 10 years. Change is always happening. Shit can very well get better for you, just like it gets better for a lot of people. As much as it may feel like the entire world is out to get you at times, and everything is always going to go wrong for you, nope, you can actually be one of the lucky ones where shit actually does go right. Just because you've been unlucky for 40 years, doesn't mean the next 10 are going to be unlucky. It could honestly change in a fucking instant, because that's just the way that life is with chaos. So yeah, truly do hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, bye.